Hi, it's Jean. It's a little dark, so I hope you guys can see this. My camera or my phone should give us some light, and I do have my ring light here, so I'm sorry I'm starting so late. But I had a few other things to do today. So the reason I'm visiting is because I saw a cute idea for a little it's a hanger that you can put like behind your door or in the bathroom or wherever, even in your art room, wherever you want to. And I thought I would like to make a miniature style of this to put in my journal, because a lot of times we do like flip ups and they can be fabric, and I thought this would be a great option for a flip in a book for a whole page. So what I did first is I cut this piece of, I'm not sure, it's not muslin, it's something a little bit heavier, but it is about 7 inches long. And actually I put, let's see, okay, so it's about 8 inches with the part I folded over, and then 5 inches wide. So that's about a standard journal size, or at least the size that I like to work with. So what I did is I put some double-sided tape on here because I want to show you how you can do this without having to sew it if you don't want to. So the double-sided tape, the first thing you do, or I call it score tape, is you want to put this on and really rub it so it stays on and it's fixed. If you want to double up with glue, you can. I'm not going to double up with glue because I don't know exactly what pieces I'm going to put on yet. I think I'm going to use this piece. And then I just have some bits and pieces of things here. In the top I put a dowel, and it's just a little skinny one. And right here you're going to notice just a little pink stitch, and that was just my original stitch to see at what point I needed to put the dowel in. So what I like to do with something like this is to layer different laces, and you layer them on. Ooh, that looks pretty. You can layer them on, let's see if that's, okay, here's the right side. And then later you can sew them. Now, or do the stitching like I said. Now with this particular one, this up here will be a pocket. And then I'm just going to build on top of this with some other laces so that it looks more, let's see, what does this one? Okay, we'll put that one on top too. Now you can do this with your needle and thread as well, or run it through the sewing machine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it. I'm just going to go in and back out like that. And just tack this down because I don't want it to fall apart. It's a little thick, so I have to pull my needle. So that's tacked down. I left a long tail, goodness. And then I can cut this off, because when you're tacking, you're just basically making a small stitch to hold something together, so you don't have to make it super perfect. So I'm going to start from the bottom this time and go this way. Let me pull it through. It's only halfway through. Now the thread that I'm using is a thicker thread. It's actually like a button thread, but it's vintage. It's Clarks and Coates, and it's called 6 cord. So that's why it's has a few more strands in it than another one would. Okay, so let me just lock this stitch in here. And then I'm going to cut off the tail. So now that is you can call it basted or tacked down on the edges, and that looks really nice. And it's okay if it's kind of floppy, you know, and not straight, because as you sew the bottom here, you're going to be able to put different things in it. Now, what I would do with this one probably is I'm just going to sew this bottom here. I'm going to leave this open, and I'm going to leave this open, and you could probably use that then for some type of belly band or something of that nature. The other section here, I wanted to use some of this. This is eyelet lace, and I actually wanted to use it like this. Let me cut it right at the... I always try to cut my things at the proper section of where the humps are. That way, if you do any gathering, or if there's anything additional, or for the next time, you know that it's even. Now, this eyelet lace was sometimes found, it can be found on petticoats, so someone cut it off of something. So I'm going to leave it like that. That's where I want it. And then I'm going to put something on top of it so that it's not this is really too big, I think, unless I put it like this. Okay, you know, I can make this go a little bit higher, and then I can use some of the same laces. I still have a piece of this that I could put actually down here at the bottom, or like this. This would look nice going upwards. So the top is going to be a pocket here, and actually, with this one, I want to, okay, let me pull this down just a little bit, because I want to put, I don't want to leave this space blank. I want to put a little pocket there. So let me see how I can do this. This is a real pretty lace. So with this, what I could do is I could cut it here and make just a small pocket, or sew it in the middle and have two little pockets. So if I put this one like this and this one like this, let me see how it looks like that. No, I like it just at the bottom. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to cut this here. So I'm going to put this as 3 layers, and when I get to this piece, I'm going to stitch it in the middle. So this will be the outline. This will be not the outline, but the position of how I want the laces to appear. I might put something else down here. And let me see. I don't want that. I don't know if I want this. That would be a kind of a pretty bottom edging to it, wouldn't it? What other laces do I have? I have some small doilies. Over here I have this pretty peach. And it is very pretty, but I don't know. Lately, I have not been a fan of peach, even though it is the Pantone color of the year is Fuzzy Peach. Okay, I think I'm going to cut this right here, and I'm going to use this as the bottom. So we have, depending on how I sew this, if I sew this straight across and catch all of the eyelet, we will have 2 pockets. One here, one here. Okay, that's what I'm planning on doing. And I'm just going to stitch this right along with it. And I'm going to have a real pretty edging. Now, after I stitch, I'm going to have to do some trimming on the sides. Then I thought, well, maybe we could brighten it up with some color. But I'm really, I really like, this is pretty, but I really like just the vintage feel of it with just the different color laces and doilies and things. So let me see what I have in here. Oh, this is really cute, but it's really big. Here's another one. Let me see what else I have. So I think I want to stay in that cream white. That's kind of fluffy for me. Oh, here's a purple thing. But I'm just gonna stay, this pale pink looks pretty, but I'm just gonna stay within the the color scheme that I have. I will maybe, this is really pretty though. I don't know if I want that on there. Now these types of things, these little appliques and things that you have, or pieces of doily that you have, you can add these later, and they, you know, you can just stitch them on later with hand stitching. I don't know when it became called slow stitching. It is slower stitching, that's for sure. So this is the outline. I think I like this right here. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine, and I'll probably do this tomorrow and just do a follow-up video for you. But my idea is, for example, this is one of the tags that I used yesterday. We can put one of those in like that, although that covers everything. The little boy one wasn't much smaller. Here's a partially decorated coin envelope. So we could put this in. We could put something here, and then we can put something here. So it would have to be on this level, something smaller that would stick in there. So I think this is a really cute idea, and I'm going to do a couple of these. So this is the first one that you see. And another thing about the double-sided tape is if you use it, or if you use that little stitch to tack it, when you go to sew it on the sewing machine, it doesn't move out of place as easily. And to be honest, that's something that I have a problem with, keeping everything nice and straight. So I am going to do another one of these, and I'm going to sew them up, and then I will show you tomorrow how you can put them in your journal. And I'm going to look for some buttons that can go along the top here, just for fun. So I also thought about doing this on a doily with an applique, or it's kind of filigree design or something they call it. I don't know. But I was thinking about this particular napkin because the edging on it is so pretty. The only thing is it's very thin. So I would have to back it with something that's a little thicker. But it's really pretty, and it would make an interesting pocket or hanger like we have there. So you just fold it over like this, and then put in whatever you need. So I may find something to back this with. I'm sure I have something. I have some more of this. So I have another one to do exactly what I did on this one. Let me see what would happen if I would put this. It's the same width almost. Okay, I would have to do it like this. Stop blowing. Oh, my fan's blowing. That's why it keeps folding over. Sorry about that. It's been so hot here. Nobody knows what to do. because we've been so hot. So there is this piece. I could just sew those two together, and then that would allow for a lot more stability. So I need to think about this because I want to make the best use of the lace parts too. So, if we would put something like this one on the top, and then here's another piece of this ribbon trim. I kind of do like those two together. I'm not sure if I need a larger piece of lace in there or not. That's too small. That is too small. I have some more of this. Now see, then the question comes to how much of this at the bottom do you cover up? I probably would try to not cover up any and just do a little narrow pocket right here. What could I do that with? Actually, no. I wanted to use this butterfly, but I don't think it really goes with this. So what I need is I need a larger piece of lace underneath here, like this, and then we'll use this trim. Okay, so there we go. We have these two trims together. And that makes, I could just stagger them, and then we would have the 3 pockets at the top, and then just find some lace to go along the bottom. I could use, well, it has lace on the bottom, doesn't it? So what I wanted to do is make some kind of little pocket here and just sew that in. But that's not gonna work with this because it's too fiddle faddle. It's I want white to go with it, so I'm sure I have some other lace. I have this beautiful little it's actually a collar, and it kind of reminds me of a moon, and I'm wondering if I could just stitch this on and use it like a tuck spot right here. I think actually that's what I'm gonna do, is use this collar for a little tuck spot, and then it doesn't cover up hardly any of the filigree or whatever that type of stitching or lace is. So there is another finished one. I have another dowel, so I'll put the dowel in it, and then once I sew these, then what I'm going to do is show you, of course, the finished product just stitched up. You already know basically what everything's gonna look like based on what we see here. And then what I'm going to do is add some things to it, like some buttons and maybe some little something that will accent it. That looks nice down there. That'll make it look cute. I could put a couple of these different flowers down here and make like a little bouquet. That would be cute. Okay, so I think we have our basic plan. Let me move this one over. I didn't cut that yet, so I'm gonna lay it here. So we are going to do this one first, and it looks like it's all ready to go. And then I will do this one, and I have to sew the handkerchief onto the backing. You know what I was just thinking would be pretty cool? Since I'm going to have 2 layers of fabric on this handkerchief, I may just sew everything to the handkerchief and then just sew the sides and leave that space to put something in. So we'll see. I am excited about the idea of putting these in a journal, and I hope you are too. And I will come back tomorrow with an updated video, and you can see how they turned out, and if you would like to try one. I just love this type of I just love doilies. I love all the different laces that you can find. I'm just really one of those people who could collect and collect and collect and never have enough. And there might be a couple of my friends that are out there like that too. So, all right. Well, that's what I wanted to visit with and let you know that I'm working on. There's one other project that I hope to be able to show you by the end of the week. I am doing a project with my paper clay, and I've never done it before, and I'm hoping it turns out okay. With the heat, the paper clay dries pretty quickly, but I just want to make sure everything's really good and dry, and I need to make some more of the things that I already made. So that will be tomorrow because I don't want to get paper clay all over my hands again. Well, guys, it was such a pleasure to visit with you today. I love when I have days that I feel great and I can get excited about my projects and about you all coming along and trying them or enjoying them. So hopefully we'll see each other tomorrow, and I hope you have a great evening. Bye for now.